Breaking news coming in. A Bangladesh minister, a minister in Sheikh Hasina's government has just been detained at Dhaka Airport. Ex-IT minister has been detained at the airport. That is the big news now coming in. Remember, Parliament has been dissolved today. It's a day after Sheikh Hasina fled the country after the protests that took place by the student leaders and the students. The protesters really, bringing down Sheikh Hasina's government. And today, the ex-IT minister has been detained at the airport. Sheikh Hasina is here in India, and at the moment in Bangladesh, the effort really is to bring about some semblance of normalcy and ensure that no violence breaks out, because at least 300 people have died in this period that since the protests had begun. So now government minister Zunaid Ahmed Palak, who was the state minister for telecommunications and information technology, has been detained at the Hazrat Shahjalal International Airport in Dhaka. There are reports that he was trying to flee to India. So these are initial reports coming in, but he has been detained by the airport staff. Remember, right now it is the army that is in charge in Bangladesh, though the efforts are on now to bring about an interim government. The parliament too was dissolved today, and now this breaking news coming in that the former IT minister has now been detained at the airport, and some reports suggesting that he was trying to flee to India. Earlier reports said that several leaders of the Awami League, that Sheikh Hasina's party, had asked India if they could cross over from Bangladesh. So really a lot of worry, and those who were a part of the Awami League or in government clearly trying to leave the country, and now one of the ministers, the former IT minister, has been detained at the airport. That is the big breaking news that is coming in right now. Zunaid Ahmed Palak has been detained at the Dhaka International Airport, and he is now with the army. This is as he was trying to leave the country. NDTV's Ghazali joins us. So that is the big breaking news that we're bringing you. Former minister there detained. Let's take you through all the latest that is coming in from Bangladesh, and currently efforts really to bring peace to Dhaka after the events of yesterday. When Sheikh Hasina was forced to flee in a very short period. She arrived in India, and major violence broke out yesterday. We saw the Dhaka Palace being swarmed by the protesters as well. Now today the curfew was lifted. While many in Bangladesh are relieved at the turn of events, there was a lot of anger against Sheikh Hasina, but there's also a lot of anxiety on what happens next. Now so far today the parliament was dissolved, and remember, this was one of the key demands that was being made by the student protesters. So parliament was dissolved, and the army chief, there were reports, would be meeting with the student leaders today. Army chief has promised an interim government and also said that new elections will be announced soon. So the big breaking news coming in right now is that Bangladesh's former information and technology minister Zunaid Ahmed Palak has been detained at the Dhaka International Airport. This as he was trying to flee, and some reports suggest trying to flee to India. Well, let's go across to Ghazali now for more. And Ghazali, what do we know at this point? The former IT minister detained at the airport as he was trying to flee the country.
Yeah, he is former State Minister for Post, Telecommunications and Information Technology, Zunaid Ahmed Palak. And he has been detained at Hazrat Shahjalal International Airport while he was attempting to flee the country. And sources have claimed that Palak was seen waiting at VIP lounge at the airport, at the VIP lounge, and he was stopped by the Air Force officials who detained him. And Palak went to the airport to fly to New Delhi, the capital, our capital city. So it is believed that he was also headed to Delhi, but he has been detained. And very interestingly, this is not the only development which has happened there, not only this minister, but every government minister, say the cabinet colleagues of Sheikh Hasina, is under a very careful watch of the Indian of the Bangladesh army, as well as the ones who are members of the opposition parties are also keeping a close eye on all those who were working with Sheikh Hasina. And another interesting development which I want to update for the viewers is that in the last 10 years, Sheikh Hasina government was facing a lot of allegations of forced disappearances. So near the army headquarters, all those families who had their loved ones or the family members who were missing for last few years, they have been approaching the army with the details of those, because the army was only accused of for this forced disappearance of these dissidents. And now reports are emerging that many families have been reunited with their loved ones who were missing for last many years. So this is another development, that the same army which was accused of forced disappearance of its citizens is now reuniting them with their families.
All right, so that's another update coming in, that many of those who were missing, who had been detained and the families couldn't get any information, now have been reunited with their families. Ghazali, what are we hearing on the situation in Dhaka right now? There's some reports that the police has gone on strike, that students and army are managing, the traffic even. That's what some of the reports suggest. But is it calm? A lot of uneasiness. Many people haven't turned up for work today.
See, as of now, the situation is a bit better than what it was yesterday, when lakhs of people were on its streets on every highway which was approaching towards Dhaka. But today, the student leaders who spearheaded this entire agitation, they are also in active mode right now. They are on the streets. And Jamaat Islami, one of the party which was banned by Sheikh Hasina and which is often seen as an Islamist party, somebody accused of fomenting anti-India sentiments, as well as the ones who are seen fomenting or are accused of fomenting hatred against the minorities in Bangladesh. Even their chief has come out, held a press conference asking his students that ensure that your protest is not hijacked by some anti-national elements, and also ensure the protection of minorities. Now, whether it's just a statement, it's an image makeover or not, but there are reports coming in, images are coming in where you can see those young students also guarding the places of worship of the minority communities. And despite the fact that there have been attacks, multiple reports have emerged from Bangladesh and the areas in the country where temples have been attacked. But most of the parties which are likely to take over the government in the interim government are appealing the people not to attack and not to scare the minorities or anyone who was associated with Sheikh Hasina's party or the government.
That's right. So that is the breaking news that is coming in right now, that a minister has been detained at the airport. And Ghazali, there are some reports suggesting he was wanting to come to India, that other members of Sheikh Hasina's Awami League leaders, want to cross over to India. What do we know about this?
Right now, most of these ministers who were cabinet colleagues of Sheikh Hasina in her government are certainly trying to make a way out of Bangladesh, and their location is not known. And the security forces or even the Bangladesh army is also keeping an eye and trying to ensure that they're detained back and they're not allowed to flee the country. As like this minister or the ex-minister of the telecommunications who was trying to flee the country, and rightly so, because he was responsible for the internet crackdown as well, the suspension of internet services. Just till last week, in the media, in the press, his statements used to be issued on why internet will not be restored in Bangladesh. And today, he was detained at the airport, and he and his other cabinet colleagues are certainly trying to make a way out of the country. But as of now, there is no concrete information about their status or about their location or whether they have been arrested or detained by the Bangladesh army.